So the day has finally come to put exhaust on the Charger. So I figured I'd go over what I have for it. These are Dynomax Ultraflow stainless steel mufflers. Now, the reason I like these is that I'm kind of wanting this thing to be quiet. I don't want it to be obnoxious, and these are a straight through design. You can see right here, it's all packed with fiberglass, and I don't want a chambered muffler. I didn't want anything like that. Shouldn't drone, and whenever you actually step on it, it should be pretty loud. It's not polished, but it is stainless, so it'll last pretty much forever. That's what we're looking for here. And it is 2.5 inch, and the part number is let's see, 17219, I believe. You can see it right there. Since the Dynomax will be pretty quiet, I wanted it to be loud on command. We're going to do that with some nice exhaust cutouts. These are Summit brand electric. You can see there's the baffle right there, and what it does is just a little electric motor. Plug it into your switch and turn it on, opens up, cut it off, shuts it. I've got two of these, like I've got two mufflers as well. And then to finish it all off, coming out the back, picked up these exhaust tips for $5 at a swap meet one day. We've got two of these, so we're gonna do dual exhaust, and then we're gonna connect the two with an H pipe. So a lot going on with this exhaust, a little bit more complicated than any I've done before. So it's the next day. Got the Charger loaded up and ready to go over to Sammy's. I'm gonna get this thing with some nice exhaust put on it. Hopefully by the end of the day we'll have something to speak for. Does really good work, so I'm excited to hear what happens with these mufflers. I've never used them before, so hopefully everything works out in our favor. Let's go ahead and head that way.
Or they can't give me nothing that would help. You can get up over there. I've been out there. I should have been out here a few years ago. That's a lot more money. Keep that side over there, really get more of it. I was up there, she ran for this for 600, and he ran that for 300. That's a no-brainer.
Alright, so I really didn't even have a chance to unload the car before I went and took it to go get an alignment. So, we're on our way. We dropped it off Saturday. Fortunately, it had to stay over the weekend, and it was a little bit nerve-wracking, but we're alright. And the alignment's done. I got my wheels balanced. We should be pretty good to go. We'll pick it up, take it for a test drive. So since the exhaust is finished, I have not had the chance to hook up the electric cutouts. I have them bolted in. They're working as a block off for the cutout itself. I don't have the chance to wire it and do a video quick enough. So what I'll do for this video, show you guys a little bit of an exhaust clip. We'll do a couple of revs, let it drive around, and let you guys actually hear what the car sounds like from inside, outside, all around it. And then once I get everything wired up and finished, we'll do a comprehensive review of the Dynomax exhaust. I want you guys to be able to see what I did and maybe do the same thing with your vehicle. But this video will feature the exhaust itself, but it will not be completely done with the cutouts and all. So be on the lookout for that. That'll come up here in the near future once I get everything wired. So a lot has happened in the last few weeks on the Charger. You guys notice I've taken a little bit of a hiatus on YouTube only because I'm trying to get this car ready for Power Tour, and I want to make sure that I keep my promise and at least show up, hopefully, with this car. I know we've been talking about it for the past year and a half, taking this car, and I really want to make sure that everything is sorted out. And filming and working on a car at the same time, it just really gets difficult because you're having to stop and set up cameras and all that. So I've just really been focused on trying to get this thing ready for Power Tour the best that I can. So hopefully after this, videos will start to come back regularly. But I just want to give you guys a little bit of an update on what's happened the past few weeks. Notice a lot of stuff is different under the hood here. We've got a lot of new parts that we'll go over in detail. Just want to give you guys a quick look of everything that's going on. And on the inside of the car, we've still got some work to do. You can see I've got my glove box lid back in there. I've got some gauges in the works there. And you'll see one that's missing. I'll talk about that here in a second. Oh, and you'll notice that windows are rolled down. No busted windshield. How about that? So we'll talk about that here in just a minute. But I want to give a quick shout out to all the people who've helped me here. Mainly my parents helping me out and keeping me sane through all this because this has been a really stressful situation. I want to give a big shout out to Dad for putting up with me as I go through all this and getting stressed out. He's been there helping me work on this stuff, and regardless of my attitude with it, he's just been helping me out all the whole time. So thanks, Dad, appreciate it, and thank you, Mom, for putting up with me as I get irritated with this thing. So big shout out to my friends and family. This whole thing is coming together really soon. We're going to make as much progress as we can, so let's kind of dive into what we've done. So the last video I had this car starting with an old Chrysler electronic ignition box. You notice that is no longer sitting on the inner fender, and we actually have wire loom and no rat's nest of wires hanging up in the firewall. It's all gone. You guys saw in the last video I ripped all that out. And we started in the wiring process with our quick wire wiring harness, and we've got our MSD distributor in. All of our plug wires ran. We made all that work, and we've got our MSD box, and if you can find it, then I'll give you 10 points. Hopefully it's not so obvious. And we've got everything pretty much done as far as wiring goes. We've got all of our headlights wired in, headlights, high beams, all that stuff works. The tail lights I'll show you guys here in a little while, but we've got a nice little Ford starter solenoid. I know you guys are going to love that. But here's what I'm thinking. I'm trying to figure out things that are easily found at a parts store, and you're more likely going to find a Ford starter solenoid than you will a Chrysler. Dad came up with that idea, and I agree with him because I went into a parts store, was able to find one of those, but I wasn't able to find a Chrysler one. So I'm trying to remember everything we've done. We've done a lot, guys. We have done a lot. So it's been crazy here these past few weeks. We relocated our coil to the back with a Mancini racing bracket. We've got our voltage regulator over there on the firewall, or the inner fender. The Summit carburetor, probably the biggest difference, and I'm still doing a little bit of tuning to it. So like I said, I got to give a big shout out to Thunderhead 289 for helping me sort out some of this stuff, because it came with mismatched power valves and they weren't right. We had to change some jetting around. I've actually got an O2 gauge in the car now that I'm still installing, and he actually helped me out and get some stuff for that. So big shout out to Luke from Thunderhead 289. He's on course to make it with his Ford truck with a 5-speed swap in it. So definitely go check his channel out and give him some support, because he's definitely helped me a lot with this car. Also here you'll notice that we don't have a busted windshield anymore. Before we had a nice giant smashed in crack right here in the windshield. And going down the interstate 70 miles an hour, that's just asking for any kind of glass pieces in your eye. So Dad and I busted out the old one, and he took all the trim out and all the gasket out. I cleaned it up, and we set the new gasket in. So I got to thank Stevens Performance for that. They hooked me up with the glass and a rubber gasket. So thanks to them, they were able to help me out in a pinch, because I was in a hurry to get stuff done, and they all had it. So new windshield, and it's a green tint. It looks amazing. Love the way it looks. It matches the rest of the glass. So we're doing really well. I love that. That was one of the biggest things I was nervous about, and it honestly wasn't that bad. What you did, all I had to do, there's like a channel that goes all the way around the gasket. You set the glass into that channel on the bottom, and then work your way up around the sides and across the top. It's a two-person job. It makes it a lot easier, but you probably could do it with one person. I wouldn't recommend it, but it went well. Me and Dad knocked it out. So down there, you can see that's where my AFR gauge and my vacuum gauge is. That's at the advice of Luke. He's trying to help me figure out some lean issues on my carburetor. Had a couple backfiring issues at low RPM, so we're trying to sort that out. Carburetor's a lot better than what it started out with because we had like a 9.5 power valve in the rear on the secondaries, and as soon as you mash the gas, that thing would flood instantly. So you'll notice I have one gauge missing. My tachometer for some reason decided it did not want to work. Everything else is working all right. I don't know why the tach didn't decide to work. I tried it with a different one and it worked fine. So I'm just going to have to figure out some kind of way to fill that hole there with a different tach. So it's not a big deal as long as I can get something in there. But anyway, you can see that the dash looks a lot better. Got the glove box in. Got I need to put a radio maybe possibly there. Out back here you'll see our exhaust tips. And we'll do some exhaust videos here soon, and I'll give you guys a short little idle clip, that way you guys can hear what it sounds like with the new Dynomax mufflers. So when you see the trunk has become the shelf here, we've got all our gauges that we're wiring in, got instructions and all that stuff. These are my seat tracks, or the handles to adjust the sliders on my Brahms seats. And we've got our cutouts up under here, sticking out right there. You can see, excuse the wires hanging down. I'm going to tie those up, but I like the way they sound. They're quiet at idle, and then as soon as you get after it, man, it comes alive. It sounds amazing. Up front we've got our huge Hillock Swaybar. This thing really handles up in the turns, really tighten it up and stiffen up everything, and there's really no body roll with this thing. So it's a little oversized in stock, and it uses the nice clamp-on bushings rather than having to cut the bushings and weld those triangle shaped ones on. So yeah, definitely a lot better. Super easy install once I figured out how to mount these brackets, and I love it. Definitely handles really nice. The car handles really nice. It really does, and I'm proud of it. That front suspension rebuild did a lot for it. We've got all of our lights done. We've got everything pretty much ready. I still have a few things to do. Got to wire in some kind of switch for the power windows. I might try to put in carpet for heat insulation. We still have to sort out the carburetor with a little bit of a tuning, and I've got to wire in that O2 sensor, and I've got to drill a hole in the exhaust, which is going to hurt a little bit. And hopefully by that point we'll be able to take it for quite a longer drive than we have been here recently. I'd like to take it out, really put some miles on it. So in the future, what we'll be doing is making sure this car will be ready and I'm going to be doing that over the next week. I'm going to be driving it as much as possible because next Friday, today is actually May 31st of me filming this clip right now. Next Friday, I will be leaving here on my way to Concord, North Carolina to the first start. I'll be leaving that morning, and hopefully I'll make it there around maybe 2 or 3 o'clock, and that'll be Eastern time, so I'll actually lose an hour. But anyway, we're gonna try our best, make this car run as smooth as possible, as little issue as possible, and we're gonna make the drive there. So like I said, we've got a week down, and hopefully the videos will start coming in a little bit more often now, more frequent now that we've got a lot of that major stuff going. We had a lot of things that I had to knock out that, like I said, it just could not make it work with me doing everything by myself. So like I said, I appreciate all you guys have done for me. If you haven't already, go subscribe, leave a like down below. If you have any questions for me, feel free to leave a comment. You can also send me an email. Send me your projects to that very same email with a short description and a picture of it. You'll see at the very end as well. Order your t-shirts and your stickers, guys. I really need to go through my P.O. box. I've got a lot of stuff from you guys that I haven't sorted through, and I need to do some stuff on that, do some videos on the P.O. box, but I appreciate everybody who submitted something. The P.O. box is down below, so if you want to send something in, feel free. You can send me an email and let me know about it. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for the support through all of this. I really appreciate it. We've been going on 1.5 years now making this charger work, so fingers crossed that this thing actually makes it. And like I said, hopefully I'll see you in Concord with this thing. Thanks again, I'll see you in the next one.